David Fincher is a man known for precision in his filmmaking. The frames, the setting, the colors, the lighting, the movement of the camera, the choice of shots, etc. are driven by purpose in his movies, and that is what makes his film captivating on a visual level despite the narrative being not so loud. Out of the many talked about things about Fincher's filmmaking style, one particular thing is how conversation scenes are edited in his movies. In this video, we talk about a very crucial scene in David Fincher's latest film, The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender as the title character. Spoiler alert, this video will be spilling some details about the plot, so please watch the movie before you proceed. The movie is now available on Netflix. Welcome to Lensman Reviews, and this is Inside the Scene. Before we jump into the scene, let's talk about how we reached that point. The unnamed killer, played by Michael Fassbender, has failed in one of the assassination missions assigned to him. In response, the people who hired him assaulted his girlfriend and she got injured pretty badly. What we see is the retaliation of our hero. The reason why this scene becomes very special to the film's context is because he is meeting someone of equal stature in the business. Unlike the other killings which he executes without forming any sort of connection with the target, here he decides to strike a conversation. And the reason for that is the fact that they both are pretty much living the same life. Kirk Baxter has mostly been David Fincher's editor in movies, and one can see the perfection in shot selection in this scene. We can split this scene into 5 different waves, and every wave has a similar rhythm with minor changes. The first wave is the opening scene, and it opens with a master shot where both our characters are sitting on opposite sides of the table. The expert, played by Tilda Swinton, is startled at the beginning because of the unexpected arrival of the killer, and we get to see her reaction in a medium close-up shot. The killer, who is more in control of the scene, is shown through a medium shot. Once the expert realizes what is happening, they both are in an equal space, and we see them both in medium shots. If you look at the cinematography aspect of the scene, you can see that the killer is placed in the dark and he is wearing a black dress, and the expert is sitting near the light and she wears a bright colored dress. That sort of sets a contrast between the two. One is not sorted and he has been lit partially, while the other one has sort of accepted the fate and is lit fully with no major shadows. When the conversation goes into the details that are specific and tension-inducing, they have opted for medium close-up shots. The second wave happens when the expert tries to loosen up the tension in the atmosphere by offering him the food, and the camera goes back to a side view, and then it goes to a standard medium shot, and when the expert asks about the last guy our hero killed, we see that happening in medium close-up shots. After that, the expert offers drinks to the killer, and the scene again goes back to a wider shot, then medium, and then medium close-ups. That ends when the expert tells the killer what really happened with his girlfriend and the collateral damage nature of that job. The third wave starts when the expert starts to talk about her experiences and mental preparations. And the shots have that gradual progression from master to medium close-up, but this time we can see some minimal expression changes in the killer's face. The expert senses the emotional dominance, and when she leans forward and asks the killer a question, Fincher opts for a low-angle shot, and for the first time in the scene, we hear the killer speak. You can see the reversal of the power dynamics in the very last moment of this scene, where we are shown the expert from a top angle when the waiters clear the table. After that famous dialogue, "One man's cruelty is another man's pragmatism," the scene goes to a wider shot in which we can clearly see that the killer is somewhat shaken. The fourth iteration of the medium to medium close-up pattern of the editing begins here. And this time, we have a metaphorical story of a grizzly bear. After two minimal close-up shots that show the upper hand of the expert, Kirk Baxter goes back to the wider shot of the expert. Then we get this master shot that zooms into the characters. Then it smoothly transitioned into medium shots of both characters. After the medium shot, which establishes the genuine interest of the killer in the story, Baxter cuts to a medium close-up shot of the expert. The sodomizing element in the story makes him chuckle, and we see him laugh in a medium shot. But the expert's narrative is kept intense, and we see her in only close-up. As the story continues, the killer gets intrigued and we see him and the expert only through close-ups. When the story ends, we go back to the wider shot of both of them for the fifth way. The expert starts to question the killer on why he wanted to strike up a conversation with her instead of just killing and moving on. And this time, we have the medium to medium close-up transition happening at a quick pace. Towards the end of that conversation, when the expert spits out the uncomfortable truth, Fincher emphasizes that with a close-up shot of the killer, which we hadn't seen till that point. After taking a moment to process all that, the killer sort of gains back control of the sequence, and we can see the scene gradually loosening up by moving to a medium shot. The scene ends with the back and forth medium close-up shots of the killer and the expert as she tries to buy some more time to know whether the whole conversation had any impact on the killer. That is strictly my interpretation. The killer is talking in only two instances in this whole scene, which runs for around 6 minutes. By using shots that elevate the graph of the moments in that conversation, David Fincher and Kirk Baxter succeed in making a monotonous lecture feel like a careful character detailing. Hope you found this video useful in understanding the craft, and if you liked it, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you.